Hello, I'm Thomas Carruthers.
I'm Will Leggetter.
And then, just to make the third wheeling even more obvious, our lovely couple of the podcast, Will and our wonderful secretary, Becky Muggeridge, is joining us once again. And for our video watchers, I was nearly going to say video listeners. It sort of defeats the purpose. They are sharing a screen today. How lovely. Becky, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Becky is joining us for another Tarantino. This is our penultimate Tarantino before going into next week's. That's a lie. Later this week with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which me and Will have made known many times is probably it's definitely our favorite Tarantino. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, because many people believe that this is Tarantino's best. I think if there is a prevailing opinion in the Tarantino canon at current, it is that this is his undisputed, pardon the cheap reference, it's his masterpiece.
10 hot, eyes forward. My name is Lieutenant Aldo Rain, and I need me 8 soldiers. We're gonna be dropped into France dressed as civilians. We're gonna be doing one thing only. Killing Nazis.
Yes, sir!
Members of the National Socialist Party have conquered Europe through murder, torture, intimidation, and terror. And that's exactly what we're gonna do to them. We will be cruel to the German. And through our cruelty, they will know who we are. They will find the evidence of our cruelty in the disemboweled, dismembered, and disfigured bodies of their brothers we leave behind us. And the German will not be able to help themselves from imagining the cruelty their brothers endured at our hands, and our boot heels, and the edge of our knives. And the German will be sickened by us.
Will, do you agree?
Absolutely. Obviously, you and me, we've always preferred this one, haven't we? Until the coming of Margot Robbie.
Oh, well. No, the coming of Margot Robbie was in Wolf of Wall Street on that bed of cash.
No, on the paper cut bed.
Yes, she's repeatedly said, hasn't she, about how...
It's very uncomfortable. Yeah. This is definitely, it's always been my favourite until that came out, and I think it's definitely number 2. It's a very good film, isn't it?
He has made multiple masterpieces. It's something, it's definitely a sin.
The German will talk about us, and the German will fear us. Nazi ain't got no humanity. They need to be destroyed. Each and every man under my command owes me 100 Nazi scalps. And I want my scalps. 9. Sound good?
Yes, sir!
Becky, you presumed, I don't know whether you presumed or not that I wasn't going to ask your opinion of the film, as I do every time, but you specifically asked me this week before the show. Tom asked me my opinion of the film. I don't know whether you thought that you were here for decoration. I don't know.
Big updates. So as well as it being my favourite Tarantino, I've decided that it's now one of my top 10.
Oh my word! Have you adjusted your?
Where does it rank?
Here we go.
I think it's number 7.
It's number 7.
Titanic down one, and I removed Shutter Island from top 10.
Well yes, done. You were quite sour on a rewatch of Shutter Island, weren't you?
Well, it's a good film.
It's great.
And maybe 20, but I feel like it just didn't have the same impact as it did the first time round.
So for a refresh for the listeners, we are dealing with Becky. We've got number 1, La La Land, number 2, About Time, When Harry Met Sally, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Crazy Stupid Love, The Incredibles, Up 10 at number 7, Inglorious Basterds. Down 1 at number 8, Titanic.
Good call.
Oh, at number 9, The Sound of Music. At number 10, Definitely Maybe. And number 1, Pipping Ultravox Vienna. It's Joe Dolce with Shut Up Your Face. Yeah, okay. So I presume this was a pretty great rewatch then, Becky.
Well, okay, I also have something to admit here. I actually haven't rewatched it recently. I rewatched it in June, and I wrote notes then. So if anything's like, I've sort of refreshed by rewatching clips and things, because I felt like it was too fresh in my memory to completely rewatch. But yeah, definitely when I watched it again in June, I was like, I forgot how good this was.
Very fun. Let's jump straight into it. Let's do YouTube comments. Well, if anything else, this movie taught me the great importance of knowing different languages.
Yeah.
If nothing else. I went to Germany once. At a restaurant, the waiter asked, "Coffee?" I replied, 9. He brought me 9 cups of coffee.
Well, I mean, that's actually, if you lead on to your fun anecdote, when you tried to be George Clooney on a holiday.
Have I done this story on the podcast?
Probably, but let's do it. It's a great story.
I was a very young child and I wanted to be George Clooney, as most young boys do.
He was already going grey.
Yeah, most young boys' idols is acclaimed actor George Clooney. And I saw the espresso ads and I was like, oh, George Clooney looks so cool drinking an espresso. It's the same reason I drink old fashions now. It's because Don Draper, John Hamm in Mad Men is like, I'll have an old fashioned, and he looks ungodly cool and attractive and great. And I do actually like an old fashioned now. I did start off going, ugh. And my ex at the time was like, "You're just trying to be Don and you don't like it. I don't know why you're drinking them." But now I do like them. So, ooh, she's not listening. It'd be weird if she was listening. But anyway, and I didn't know what an espresso was. So I got a big coffee cup and I espressoed it, and then went, and espresso's worth came out. But I was like, oh, it's broken. So what's happening here? I had a cup of 4 espressos, and like drinking whiskey, trying to look cool, you're like, that tastes lovely. And I drank 4 espressos because I wanted to be George Clooney, and I was off the rails for the rest of the day.
I was going to say, you must have been bouncing off the walls.
I was a bouncy little boy.
Imagine what it's like without coffee. It must have been very, very bad.
I was like Danny DeVito when George has to show him how cool espressos are in the new ads. I think the Bastards should do the same with the ISIS.
The ISIS?
The ISIS, not any old ISIS. Not the dog from Downton that they had to kill off because of all the terrorist attacks at the same time.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh.
Let's bring her up again, my ex. Yeah, that was my favourite part of Downton, was that they had to kill the dog ISIS off because it was like 2016 and it was the peak of the terrorism. And Jim Hugh Bonneville is like, "Oh, can you sleep with us tonight?" Fuck Downton Abbey, it's shit. Lol, when all the people died in the bar, I was so confused. So did everyone die? There was like 3 main characters there.
Like Game of Thrones. Everyone dies.
We're not really a Game of Thrones podcast, are we?
No, we're a movie podcast, Tom.
Very good, Will. Very good.
I'm getting very quick recently.
Well, I don't need to know about that.
Wow.
Best 10-minute stretch. Let's go to number 7 girl herself. Becky, why don't you kick us off with some 10-minute stretches?
Right. Well, I think my top. No, it's probably between 2.
And let the record show. Sorry to interrupt you. we're going to throw the 10-minute structure out a little bit, and we can say the whole tavern. You don't need to say first 10 minutes of the tavern.
That's not actually. I mean, I'd say it's probably third.
Oh, okay. Take it away. Take it away.
I just really enjoy the bit when they're in the ditch, and they're like,
yes,
where they introduce Stiglitz. They have, is it the bear Jew who comes out, and hits them, and then they like do the Nazi scar and everything. It's a great scene.
And we meet Hitler.
And then also, obviously, just the cinema going up in flames, and then like everyone shooting at everyone, and just the chaos that is the almost end of the film. And
the murdering of Hitler. Do you remember the first time you saw this film? Did you know that Hitler died? I remember I watched this as a very young child, and I was like, "You can't do that! You can't do that!" Now I adore it, but as a child, it did sour me on the end of the film. Actually, I was. Wait a minute, I don't like it. It's not historically accurate.
I liked it the first time I watched it because it was a surprise. But it was like, oh, okay,
it's a nice surprise, Hector. Isn't it? It's a nice
It's definitely a surprise. Yes. Okay. So the tunnel and the cinema. Shoshana. This is the face of Jewish vengeance. Will, what are your nominations?
Okay. Well, the introduction of Hans Lander.
Yes. Sorry, Becky, to say that it's your 7th favourite film and the fact that you didn't mention arguably the best.
In my extra notes.
Let's have this out now. Is this the best opening scene of the past 20 years?
Yes.
I'm trying to think of some others. I'm trying to think what other great ones are there. And this is very broad.
I mean, the opening to Ratatouille is quite...
No, the opening to Ratatouille is one of the worst bits. Well, not the worst bits, but it's like, oh, he's in a sewer.
It's exposition in it. What else?
I mean, it's just unflappable. It's there isn't a single person who sits down and watches Inglorious Basterds and watches that first 10 minutes and doesn't watch the rest of the other 2 hours 20. It is that astounding an opening.
I do remember though when I first watched this, the first scene, I was just so confused. I was like, what the hell is going on? And really, until you've seen the rest of the film, you're like, what? But going back and watching it, you're like, this is a great scene. And also, I have so many extra notes about that one scene. So we'll come back to them.
I think the fact that there are subtitles and it's foreign language could throw people off. But
this is the thing. People say to me all the time, I don't like foreign films. And then I say, do you like Inglorious Basterds? And they go, yeah, I love it. I'm like, 3/4 of that was subtitled, you idiot.
One of my favorite things about the film, like I wrote, the 3 things I really enjoy are the cinematography, the gore, just all of the everything, and the languages. The fact that they're just switching between French, German, Italian, and English, like all over the place.
Well, that's where the tavern scene comes from. Is because in Where Eagles Dare, Clint Eastwood and Richard Burton are pretending to be German, but they're still speaking English, and it's like, oh, how are you today? And they just do a vague accent. And Tarantino's like, you've got so much ability for tension, and they're not using it, and because Clint and Burton didn't want to learn. And it's an ingenious. You look at all those 50s, 60s war movies, and they're all just everybody's speaking English. It was a big thing at the time. Spielberg really struggled whether or not to make Schindler's List in German. And he eventually decided on English because he wanted it to reach as wide an audience as he could with this story.
Yeah.
That was his ultimate decision. But this isn't the Schindler's List pod. That'll be a 250th episode, Schindler's List.
That's Click.
That is Click. Well, don't worry. I know it's Click. Yeah, no, that 10-minute stretch is unflappable. Will, any other nominations for 10-minute stretch?
I mean, say off with the Saint to your Nazi balls. I'm sure it's just that's the best scene in the movie.
Yes.
It's amazing. The whole what is it now? That and that.
Yeah, which like I get is a thing, but I also don't think it's a real thing.
Yeah.
Oh, and for the audio listeners, we'll just stuck 3 fingers up and did them both different ways.
It's more like I've noticed in certain parts of Europe, at least, particularly they do like to like that versus the way that it's rude in the UK.
Yes.
We had someone who was, I think, from Greece in one of my primary school classes, and he used to do this, but the other, like, put the 2 fingers up, but the other way round in classes, and everybody would start laughing, and then the teacher would be like, "You can't do this, not in England."
Yes, as Lily James told us in The Darkest Hour, it means up your bum, Mr. Churchill. Up your bum? Oh, terrible film. Yeah. You can pick what movie we watch tonight. I really want to watch The Darkest Hour. Are you sure? There's not a single good review. Yeah, I want to watch The Darkest Hour. Okay. Falls asleep. Anyway, Darkest Hour, terrible. Really bad
I've
movie.
not seen it yet.
Don't. It's a waste of 2 hours. Gary Oldman's obviously great in it, but also lots and lots and lots of prosthetics. Does that do most of the performance? Yes. Yes, I dare say. Any other nominations, Will, for 10-minute stretch?
No.
I've got opening.
Yep.
Tunnel, which we alluded to. Landa dinner, the creme, the strudel dinner.
That's in
That's in
minute.
my notes as well.
Don't forget the cream.
Don't forget the creme.
And extreme zoom ins on them.
Classic
Which is
Tarantino
like
food shop.
And for you, a glass of milk. The tavern, naturally, and the burning down, and it's hard to call it a 10-minute stretch because it keeps cutting in between both. But the cinema goings on and the interrogation / negotiation, as we come to learn, with Landa and the wine, and I want a piece of land in Nantucket. Bought for me by the American government. And then nice Harvey Keitel cameo. Did you spot him? Well,
on the phone.
Winston Wolfe himself. Apparently Brad Pitt had to, no, sorry, it was Eli Roth. Somebody asked him in an interview, he's like, "Is Harvey Keitel supposed to be Winston Wolfe?" It's like, "No, because it's 1944, you idiot." It's like the narrator, Samuel L. Jackson, isn't narrating as Jules Winfield when he's talking about Hugo Stiglitz. Hugo Stiglitz, you might have heard. They're my 10-minute stretches. Let's have it out then, because many people go to the tavern, many people go to the opening scene. So I'll fight for the opening. Will, you fight for the tavern, which I think I've helped you out there by giving you it. Becky, what was your strongest nomination?
The ending or the ditch.
Okay, go. Oh, take back your horse. What horse are you going for?
Can I not have both?
No, it's going to be a debate, a heated debate.
Do I have to pick one of yours?
No, you have to pick one of the 2 that you just said, the tunnel or the burning.
Bit in the ditch, probably.
Okay.
But I have a different best minute that is by far the best minute.
Ooh. Is it Mike Myers? We'll get to it. Tom's Riddler's specific favourite part of the film. I love rumors. We could probably have a whole segment of Best Line Lander edition. I love rumors. Rumors are often true. Hitler being painted whilst he's going 999999999. I love a little Hitler painting. The autographs of Friedrich Zoller. Friedrich Zoller! The autographs, beautifully incredible in this film, Melanie Laurent. So good. The first thing I did, and I do it, I think, every time I watch Inglorious Basterds, I then go on Melanie Laurent's IMDb, and I'm like, where did Melanie Laurent go? Why wasn't this is one of the better female performances in a Tarantino movie? I mean, yeah, why not? No, I'm going to stick with that. An incredible performance up there with The Bride. Shoshana, such an incredibly written character, so brilliantly performed by Laurent. And then I look at her IMDb, and it's like, oh, she was in Now You See Me. It's like, come on, give us something else. She's a director now, I believe. And also she does like piano music. But none of the piano music's all beautiful, but none of the films are like critically acclaimed or anything. And I never really heard of them. Speaking of Shoshana, that incredible catch of the breath after the Landa dinner, just that incredible anxiety release, because she's done so well to keep it in. What should we drink to? Down with Hitler. And down with Hitler. The fingers. The whip flashback for Stieglitz, and then cutting to the gloves, and slapping his gloves against him. You're the third best. I don't speak Italian. Yeah, that's right. You're the third best. Shoshana on the balcony with that incredible hat and that incredible red dress, just looking down on everybody. Wonderful. The Brad grab when he's thrown to the floor. Wonderful. And a really revealing one for I think, the character of Landa, because he's desperately hurt, is when he goes, I don't believe we are working on the same level of mutual respect. Because it's almost like all the detective stuff. It's as if he thinks he's Moriarty and he's about to meet Sherlock for the first time, and then he meets Sherlock and Sherlock doesn't give a shit about Moriarty. It's like there is a version of this film where it's Aldo versus Landa, and it's this back and forth cat and mouse incredible thing, but it's not. It's just a bunch of, not necessarily idiots, but a bunch of people coincidentally ending up killing Hitler. A bunch of failed plots that eventually end up killing the guy. The Wizard of Oz, when they mimic the Wizard of Oz with her face on the smoke, and I've put here 30 feet. Gotta get to that guy in 30 feet. Do you think he can do it? Yeah. Ooh, champagne. And then, incredible stuff. Will's more general favourite part of the film?
Christoph Waltz's just reaction to the running off at the beginning in the field when he fires. I'm just going, I'll get you next time, because he knows he's just the best. I mean, he's an awful man. Don't quote me on that.
Don't quote you on he's an awful man.
Don't forget the cream is amazing, and just the bit where he goes, it's very Christoph. The bombs down the trousers and them trying to shuffle into the seats.
Oh yeah,
that's great. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Just the realization, and then when they're all pointing the guns at each other, that sort of standoff moment.
What, in the bar?
In the bar. That's great. And then there was
if I'm going to go out, I want to go out speaking the king, so bloody. Underrated aspect. Underrated in this film, I think. Fassbender.
Very good.
I think. Yeah, it was always good.
Yeah. I've forgotten my other one, and it was really, really good, and probably the best thing that would have been said this podcast.
Did you write it down?
I can't. No. It was a bit. It sure was. It'll come back to me.
Here's hoping. In the meantime, Becky, your specific favourite.
Okay, so I liked the random switch to English in the first scene because they're trying to like not let the Jews know what they're speaking about. Just a random little thing. I liked when Lauder gets his massive pipe out. And
Oh,
there's
yeah.
a little, like,
Can I smoke my pipe?
and it's just like the clear, like, oh,
Scene.
my pipe's bigger than yours.
There's certainly something phallic.
It's a very it's like a great hidden thing, and there's no like
It's definitely compensated.
attention brought to it. It's just given enough time.
Mm.
I like the fact that it's like done in chapters per sort of standard Tarantino
Yeah.
thing. I have already talked about like the languages, the cinematography, and the gore being like 3 of my favorite things. This is a really weirdly specific bit, but
That's why this is what this part's for.
When they're doing the like random flashback about how they kind of got Hugo Stiglitz in their little group.
Yeah.
And they're in the prison, and they're just essentially saying like, "Would you like to go pro?" And one of the Nazis groans, and they just shoot him like no one blinks an eye or like flinches at all. And then
Big fans of your work. Yeah.
What else? Depends if I'm going to mention the rest in what's left on my notes. Or...
Okay. No, we can wait. We'll get to it eventually. Soundtrack corner, Becky. This is. Oh no, this is your. Yeah, no, you were here for Pulp Fiction. I mean, as alluded to at the end of our Pulp Fiction episode, David Bowie's incredible song "Cat People Putting Out the Fire" from the movie Cat People, the remake. Do you know the movie Cat People?
I don't. I
So
know the Catwoman song.
What? Your body's too bootylicious for... What's the song that they play basketball to in Catwoman? I think it's like Bootylicious. Anyway, I don't know. No, it's an old 40s movie called Cat People, where a woman's afraid to have sex with her husband because she thinks she's going to turn into a cat. And it's like really low budget, and it's great. And like, you never see any transformations because it's the 40s. And then in the 80s, coked out era, Paul Schrader, writer of Taxi Driver, said, "What if we did that, but there was lots of sex and you turned people into cats?" And it's great. And David Bowie wrote a great song for it called Cat People Putting Out Fire. With the incredible... Where is it? With gasoline! Incredible moment. Do we have any other nominations for Soundtrack Corner?
I'm going to fight the White Lightning corner. I think that's very good.
Like the White Lightning? What's that?
It's like the main one.
The main one? This? It's not that. Oh, this. Green Leaves of Summer.
No, that's the first one.
That's the first one.
White Lightning by Charles Bernstein.
What part does that play in? I don't have that on my Spotify
I think
soundtrack.
it's like the bear introduction.
It's a good song.
I mean, as always, it's just a great soundtrack.
It is a great soundtrack. And I think it really succeeds. Well, no, it has the David Bowie, but that David Bowie is great. I think it does succeed, though, by that David Bowie just being one, that it's not filled with too much pop songs here and there, like 70s pop songs. I think it adds, because Django's a bit, revenge, it's a bit fantastical, it's got all that going for it. I think it adds more realism to this, that it's mostly score. I don't know. Works for me. It's Oscar travesty time, everybody. Let's share my screen. So there's just a good Oscars. I remember watching it. It was Alec Baldwin and Steve Martin hosting, and they were wonderful. And I've rewatched their opening speech many times. Is it going to do it? Is it going to do it? This was the first year of the 9 nominations.
Yes.
I think that's a lie, actually. I think that's a lie. Can you see?
We can now see.
Can you see now?
Yeah.
Aye, aye.
Aye, aye, Captain. I do believe this was the first year in which there was 9 nominations, and most of those are bad. We have.
Yeah, I just don't know why they do it.
Avatar.
This was the year of Avatar. I remember as a 9-year-old wanting Avatar to win.
Oh no.
Well, I hadn't seen it, Inglorious Basterds, yet. I think I'd seen Up in the Air, though, with my boy, Josh Clooney. Yeah, no, Inglorious Basterds is by far the best film there. There's no question in my mind. It's just another Oscar travesty for Tarantino. So The Hurt Locker wins.
Is up the up as in
Ups, up. Yeah, ups,
should have an
up.
exclamation mark, shouldn't it? I swear it's like up exclamation mark.
I
Or
don't.
have I been dreaming my
I think
entire
that's a
life?
different movie.
I have no idea. But either way, Up should have been nominated for fucking Best Picture.
Very-
Precious is terrible. A Serious Man's beautiful. A Single Man's incredible. Just all these so much better films than The Hurt Locker. Catherine Bigelow wins. She's the first woman ever to win Best Director. Obviously, that's seminal and wonderful. I wish it was for a better film, so I could actually be happy about it. Tarantino should have definitely won. Do we think that there's a shout for Cameron for Avatar? Do we think Bigelow was right to win?
I've not seen The Hurt Locker. Avatar
It's bad.
is a weird one. I didn't dislike it, but it wasn't what they wanted it to be.
Yeah.
I think, but Inglorious Basterds should have won probably Best Director.
I've never been a fan of The Hurt Locker. Ideally, the whole idea behind Avatar is Cameron should have won for producing it, but then automatically you're giving that the best film because the producer wins that. But Tarantino definitely should have won director if you look at his repertoire.
Well, this is the thing. He's been snubbed year after year after year, which is why, although Parasite was excellent, I think there should have been Tarantino's year. I'm sorry, guys. I think it should have been. I think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood should have been a sweep. And we'll get more into it on Oscar Travesty next episode. Do we have anybody for Best Actor? It's a tough one because it's such an ensemble. I'd say lose Christopher Plummer. No, lose Matt Damon for Invictus, an actively bad movie, and let's have a double supporting actor nomination. Let's have Brad Pitt in here. Would we give Melanie Laurent Best Supporting or Best Actress?
Actress.
Yeah, okay, then let's lose Helen Mirren for The Last Station.
Yeah, wouldn't Brad Pitt be actor rather than supporting actor?
No, because he wouldn't get nominated.
But they like to play it. Like they always play it.
Yeah.
Whoever would if you're more likely to get the award, they'd stick you into it. It's a very corrupt system.
But speaking of corrupt systems, this was the no. Django was the last Tarantino movie from the Weinstein Company.
Julia. I love that movie.
You're a big Julia fan.
One of my favorite movies. I am.
It combines your two favorite things, cooking and Amy Adams. Yeah, no, Julie is fine. I'm not going to write home about it. I'm sorry, Will. Obviously, Christoph wins. Rightly so. I don't think there's any debate, conversation, or comments we can add here. There's really nothing we can say, I don't think. Best screenplay, again, The Hurt Locker. Are you having a laugh? Over Titanic. Over Inglorious Basterds. I'm a huge Up in the Air guy. I have to say this. I think Up in the Air is great. I think it's George Clooney's best. And it's a real tough one for me.
I like In the Loop.
Different, very different. Oh, it's there. Right, that's why you brought it up. Yeah, In the Loop's great. In the Loop is great. True. Either way, the moral of the story is both of them are better than Precious, and another actively bad film. What else are we getting? And do you think we should nominate thing for best editing nomination again? The Hurt Locker is a badly edited movie. It's nauseating. Jesus, when are these people? Ugh. So Avatar did get best cinematography. They had to give it something. I think Inglorious Basterds is a beautiful film, but I actually think The White Ribbon looks better. Either way, it's just it's depressing me. All of these Tarantino washers are just depressing me. Usually in a fortnight, we have at least one where it's like, they got their Oscars. But this time we don't. And it's insane because arguably Tarantino is one of the most critically acclaimed, most celebrated. And let's not just snub audiences. Financially, it was successful. It was a massive hit for an R-rated 2.5-hour Nazi drama, mostly in a foreign language. It was an obscene hit.
Tell me, Aldo, if I were sitting where you're sitting, would you show me mercy?
Nope.
What is that English expression about shoes and feet?
Looks like the shoe's on the other foot. Ja, just thinking of it.
Sie können wegtreten. Bleiben Sie am Posten draußen. So you're Aldo the Apache.
So you're the Jew hunter.
I'm a detective. A damn good detective. Finding people is my specialty, so naturally I worked for the Nazis finding people, and yes, some of them were Jews, but Jew hunter? Just a name that stuck.
Well, you do have to admit, it is catchy.
Do you control the nicknames your enemies bestow on you?
Anyway, Will's favourite building or set, you've got some glorious ones to talk us through.
I mean, the foyer of the theatre.
The entire cinema.
Beautiful.
Yeah. The outside,
It's
the
very,
inside.
very, very nice. I'm very jealous when she's up the ladder, just changing the letters. Or I could happily retire and do that.
Oh, that'd be good.
It's just like massive Scrabble, isn't it?
I guess. Oh, yeah, we could run our own little cinema, and I could pick the movies like I do for the podcast. And we could do live podcasting after. Could do the film and then talk about it after, and then go, where did everybody go? Becky, do you have any nominations for Will's favourite building? For Will's favourite building or set? Do you have anything that he's missed?
I mean, just in the first scene, the way that it's filmed, I'm not sure if I'd necessarily say it's the set itself, but it's like the way they film the little like hut and the surrounding landscape is very cool. But yeah, no, the cinema's definitely the standout one.
It is beautiful. Let's do best single minute, so we'll go in reverse. So it's me, and we'll build up to this undeniable single minute that Becky is referring to. I've got the murder and the run of the culmination of the opening scene, that incredible, ladies, I would like to thank you for your milk and bid you adieu. And then that glorious run, gloriously tragic run of Shoshana, and then au revoir, Shoshana. Beautiful. The address from Brad Pitt. I want me 100 Nazi scalps.
Yes, I've got that in my note. And
Glorious stuff. The Hugo Stitless flashbacks. I've got the Mike Myers and the Rod Taylor as Winston Churchill. Will's a huge The Time Machine fan.
I do love The Time Machine. Both films.
Were you happy to see Rod Taylor?
No. Of course I was. It's a joke.
Took a turn. The culmination of the tavern. Go on.
I've got Mike in my change, actually. I'm going to be that guy.
Oh, we'll
Just
get to
to play
that later.
devil's advocate.
Hold on.
Just to play devil's advocate. Yeah, you got that fire! Not that devil's advocate. But we'll get to what's the change. The shootout culminating in the tavern, Bowie, and my personal undeniable single minute. Are we in agreement? I've got the Italian pretending to be Italian.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Glory. Well, let's talk about this now. Let's remove the tension now that we're here. A Dominique di Coco.
Margaretti.
Arrivederci.
Margaretti.
Gorlami.
Buongiorno.
The minute that Lambda starts speaking Italian is one of my favorite. This is great. And then Brad Pitt's eyes widening. Absolutely incredible. And I don't know why we expected him not to be able to. He is like a he is a super villain. He is Moriarty. He figured it all out. And he's with the shoe and the napkin. I mean, it's there for him. I mean, a blind dog could figure that one out. Landa, which is actually part of my change.
No.
She's a secret spy and she leaves a shoe and a napkin with her name on it. These are secret servicemen. I know we need a reason, but
she's also like a TV film star or something, isn't she?
Yeah, Brad Pitt's not.
Yeah, but as in like she's a film star, so she's of course going to act like a film star and give people.
Yeah. No, I'm on about leaving it.
I mean, she kind of got hurt.
Yeah, but Brad Pitt didn't get hurt.
Like been shot, you kind of don't think, oh, let's go back and pick up my shoe and that thing that I signed.
Okay, I can forgive forgetting the napkin. I can't forgive forgetting your shoe.
Maybe it was like a calling card to taunt them.
It could well have been that the guys like picked her up and took her off to this place, and like she didn't have a chance to be like, oh, but my shoe.
No, she seems pretty conscious when she guns down Wilhelm. She seems pretty wide-eyed and awake. Think of Maximilian. Think of Maximilian. How can I trust you? Great stuff. Will.
Hello.
Single minute.
Single minute.
Single minute. We've only recorded 90 of these.
Yeah, well, the conversation at the end, sort of the bargaining, that's a great minute. Obviously this minute, the introduction of the bear Jew is great.
He beats German soldiers with a club.
Stand out for me is the strudel. Because I'm very hungry.
Yeah. I always the most food I consume is when I rewatch Hannibal, and even though I know he's cooking humans, my mum thinks I'm a madman because I always watch an episode. I'm like, oh, I'm hungry. I'm like, what? But because when he's cooking them, it's not like there's an eye and there's like he's just put a whole head in a frying pan. It's like just pieces of meat, and then he tosses it all up, and it's God.
A few herbs.
Yeah, you haven't watched the TV show yet, Will. You have no idea how good the cooking is in Hannibal. Like in the movies, I mean, well, the most thing we see him cook in the movies is Ray Liotta's brain, and obviously you can't sort of get about which still looks delicious. Oh, and then
please never do anatomy, because the like preservative that they use on the bodies, supposedly the smell of it is supposed to make you hungry. So you literally would have a moment where you feel hungry whilst cutting up dead bodies. And I can just picture that being a very fun thing.
First episode of Hannibal, best cut. One of the best cuts of recent TV memory. I wonder who's doing it. He's eating them. And then it cuts to Hannibal and he's just having a great time in his kitchen and he's just flipping the pieces of meat. We need to do Hannibal. Will, any other nominations for single minute?
That is it.
That is it. Gorlami. Becky?
It's already been said. Just Antonio Margheriti.
One more.
One more time with the music of it, Phil. You know I tease rough.
And at least the other two kind of try with like the Coco and
Yeah,
Margheriti.
Brad's not having any.
Brad's
It's not
just
having
like,
any of it.
Salami.
Salami. Buongiorno.
Arrivederci.
Yeah. And then Gorlami. Can't stand anymore. Somebody's cooking onions, and now I want to eat a human. Let's move on to the next. Best line. Oh, a wealth, my dear children. Let's do our famous round robins. You probably heard we ain't in the prisoner taking business. We in the killing Nazi business, and cousin, business is a booming.
Me? Well, okay. I just wrote down pretty much Aldo Rain's like entire monologue.
Give us your favourites. It's all right. Give us your
My
favourites.
favourite bits of it are "My name is Lieutenant Aldo Rain," and then the way he says 8 Jewish American soldiers, and then of course one thing and one thing only: killing Nazis.
Great stuff. Well,
Just the best monologue.
Say auf Wiedersehen to your Nazi balls.
Hugo.
Was that it?
No. I was commenting on. Where is it? You didn't say the goddamn rendezvous was in the fucking basement. I didn't know. You said it was in a tavern. It is in a tavern. Yeah, in the basement. You know, fighting in a basement offers a lot of difficulties. Number one being you're fighting in a basement.
It's technically said in German, but they
It's
say
all right.
"shut up, slut."
Sorry, I talked over you.
They say in the underground bar, in that like tavern thing, there's a point where the German guy says "shut up, slut," but in German. It's great.
Okay. Yes.
Just the way he says it.
It's Max. Good old. I always call him Maximilian, but he's not called Maximilian. He's called Wilhelm. His son's called Maximilian. He does everybody in this. Name a bad supporting role. There isn't one. Everybody does top work. Will.
The bit where Christoph is just like the Goebbels will be very, 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 very mad at you. And that whole you can have all 4 if you like. It's just great.
When he repeats.
Yeah.
Goebbels and Goebbels and Hitler and Goering, Goebbels and Goebbels and Hitler and Goebbels. Not one day. I mean, if I had my way, you'd wear that goddamn uniform for the rest of your peck-a-second life. But I'm aware that ain't practical. I mean, at some point, you're going to have to take it off. So I'm going to give you something you can't take off. Great stuff. And I must say, I grow weary of these monkey shines. I like that phrase. Do you hear that sound? That was the sound of a Walter pointed right at your testicles. Anything from the other household?
I mean, the bits in Italian are like them trying to say their names. They're just like, but I guess it's more of a dialogue than like best line.
Per la durata del loro soggiorno.
Grazie.
Gorlomi? Lo pronuncio correttamente?
Sì, corretto.
Gorlomi? Per cortesia, me lo ripeti ancora.
Gorlami.
Mi scusi, con me?
Gorlami.
Ancora una volta.
Gorlami.
E come si chiama lei?
Antonio Margheriti.
Ancora?
Margheriti.
Un'altra volta, ma adesso vorrei proprio sentire la musica delle parole.
Margheriti.
Margheriti. E lei?
Dominic De Coco.
Come?
Dominic De Coco.
Bravo.
Teddy fucking Williams knocks it out of the park, Fenway Park on its feet for Teddy fucking ball game. He went yard on that one, the fucking land down street. Really rough. Do you know who was the original for Donnie? Who Tarantino wanted?
Roth.
Adam Sandler.
Oh, yes.
No, not right.
And he could have done his little Nicky voice.
Are you mad? What have you done? I made a deal with your general for that man's life. Yeah, they made that deal, but they don't give a fuck about him. They need you. You'll be shot for this. Nah, I don't think so. More like chewed out. I've been chewed out before. And I just gotta see. This is the wonderful thing when I delete quotes that I've done. It's the next photo, and I just got graced with my lovely face on my headshots. What's next? What's left from Will's? Oh, no. Go on then. What's the change? Give us your Mike Myers takes.
Right. I bloody love Mike Myers. Very, very good man. But I do have issues with his casting for the purpose that if you're going to cast Mike Myers, I think it feels half-hearted. He either needs to really just be dead serious, or, as the farce of a movie that this is, make him just completely crazy. I think it's just a watered down thinking about
Fat bastard.
No.
Austin Powers.
It's just a watered down Austin Powers.
No, come on. I'm sorry, I completely disagree with you. If he went in and he was full blown Austin Powers, it would be everybody's change. I think it is. I think it's a pitch perfect. It's just winking enough. It's not, it's not dead serious, because you're never going to get around the fact that you've cast Mike Myers. Do you know what the original casting for Fassbender was?
Who?
Simon Pegg.
No, it's not.
I think they would
Cool
have made
enough.
it too much of a, like, him and Adam Sandler would have made it too much of like it is comedic, but it's comedic in just the right amounts, whereas they would have tried to make it more of a comedy. It's just not that.
Certainly not. Anything else, Will, for your change, now that we've rebutted your...
That's it from me.
Becky, any changes?
I couldn't think of any. I remember just watching it back and like, it's weird because it's definitely not like my top film, but I can't describe why.
Okay. I don't like the fade back to the run when Landa first comes into the dinner with Shoshana. I think it's a cheap fade, when it cuts back to her running. It's too harsh, it doesn't work. Also, I think, I dare say, it needs a trim.
Yeah,
I think,
I'd agree.
No. And there is literally just 2 scenes where it feels dead, and it's the Zola Shoshana scenes. They just do nothing for me.
Oh, wait, this is in my extra notes.
In a good way? Okay, well, right, well, you fight your corner. Well, we'll bump this up and you can fight your corner in a second. I just think those 2 scenes where he's flirting with her at the ladder, and then when all the autographs and stuff, obviously the dinner scene's incredible, but they just, they feel like you've stopped dead in your tracks. And other than that, it's such a propellant, incredible film. Becky, prove me wrong.
Like, I agree with you in some parts, like it does slow down, but I love those scenes because he's trying so hard, and he is the definition of like, I can get you because I'm like this amazing guy who's essentially like a film star. I can have whatever woman I want.
To quote Sheena Easton, to quote Shania Twain, so you think you're Brad Pitt? That don't impress me much.
Yeah,
go on.
In my notes, I put like Frederick trying so hard with the girl, and then Frederick is so bloody persistent.
And if you can't have her, nobody else can. Bang!
That brings me to what's left in Will's notes.
Perfect.
That the fight in the real room, it was very reminiscent of Mr. Bean's Holiday, which I would argue does it better. I think that scene would be made 10 times better with Willem Dafoe angrily knocking at the door.
What has Dafoe been in a Tarantino?
No, he's more of a Anderson man.
Yeah, he has been in a few Andersons. I mean, can you be both?
You're not allowed.
Who's an actor who's been in Tarantino movies and Wes Anderson movies? Not Bill Murray. Not Gwyneth Paltrow. Not Tilda Swinton. Not Angelica Houston. Not Cate Blanchett.
Uncovered something. You're right.
Have we discovered something?
Have we discovered that you can only be in a Tarantino movie or a Wes Anderson movie? There must be.
Oh, George Clooney. No, has George Clooney been in a? No, he hasn't.
No, this is a wonderful theory. This is a great theory, Will. I like this.
This will be my next blog post.
You can next, as in your second.
This is coming out a while. I'll have another one by then.
Bottle Rocket, James Caan, Luke Wilson, and all them. No. Rushmore, Brian Cox, Olivia Williams. No. Jason Schwartzman. No. None of these people. Right. Royal Tenenbaums. There's lots of people in Royal Tenenbaums. Gene Hackman. No. Ben Stiller. No. Danny Glover. No. Alec Baldwin. No. Oh, why isn't Alec Baldwin being in a Tarantino? Angelica Houston, no. This is a great theory. The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. Willem Dafoe, Jeff Goldblum. No. There's Michael.
On to the question. Would you want to be in an Anderson film? Tarantino.
What about Ed Norton?
No, he's not been in a Tarantino.
No. This is very fun. I'd
go Tarantino any day.
I'd have to say Tarantino.
Has Jarvis Cocker been in a Tarantino movie?
That you wrote a bad song.
I feel like they're distinctive types of films, and perhaps it's just the people that suit each type.
Bruce Willis in Moonrise Kingdom. Bruce Willis. Yeah, Bruce Willis. Yeah, Pulp Fiction.
Oh no, sorry, Jack. Oh, yeah.
So we have our
one and normal.
Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis, the man, the only man who can be. Ralph Fiennes hasn't been in a Tarantino. Adrian Brody. Oh no, Harvey Keitel's in Grand Budapest Hotel. This theory's bullshit.
Just stop there.
Leah Seydoux is in Grand Budapest Hotel, and she's one of the daughters in this as one of her first roles. Oh, jeez. So we've got Leah.
If you know any more, comment them down below.
Yes. So we've got Harvey Keitel, Leah Seydoux, Bruce Willis, Isle of Dogs, Bryan Cranston. No. I'm Greta Gerwig. Look at me. Yeah, I do believe we have found the three people that have starred in Tarantino. Are you offering us a lead part in the film, Becky, or?
Yeah.
It would have to be Tarantino if it was lead part, just because there's more to do. Whereas I feel
they're longer.
Anderson is quite a refined, sophisticated piece of acting. Where it wouldn't be much and it would be quite edgy, whereas Inglorious Basterds, just with Tarantino, you're just thrown into the action, you have a bit of fun along the way. As a film, as an experience, I would prefer making a film with Tarantino.
I feel like I like some Anderson films, but they're slightly too abstract for me sometimes.
Where's Anderson our next fortnight?
Je suis au regret de vous informer que j'ai épuisé l'étendue de mon français. Continuer à le parler si peu convenablement ne ferait que me gêner. Cependant, je crois savoir que vous parlez un anglais tout à fait correct, n'est-ce pas?
Oui.
Ma foi, il se trouve que moi aussi. Puisque nous sommes ici chez vous, je vous demande la permission de passer à l'anglais pour le reste de la conversation.
Certainement.
Voilà.
Aptly, rather aptly. Well, after that wonderful tangent that got us more excited than we could ever imagine, it's time for anything left from your notes, Phil?
No. That's it, Tom.
There's nothing from mine. Becky, you're usually a big noter.
Yeah, I love my notes. So I've already talked about Frederick. Oh, we have not mentioned this yet.
Oh.
The random sex scene in the middle of the restaurant bit.
Yeah, I guess that should go in change. I think it's a bit.
I'm always like, what?
I think it comes out of, it's not that it comes out of nowhere, it's just very obvious. And also I don't think it's edited very well. You need, I don't, it doesn't do much for me, I have to say.
And then I put just every time that Shoshana is interacting with Loud, basically, like particularly in that strudel scene, but just like, yeah. We've already talked about the random close-up food shots, and then kind of nicely bringing us on to the end scene is just perfect in my opinion. I love it.
Yeah, I'd say it's the perfect end to a rather wacky film.
You don't sound so confident in that.
No, I do. I think it's an excellent ending. I think the incredible violence and brutality and that hard cut to the trees, so beautifully shot.
The final line of, I think this might just be my masterpiece.
Yeah.
It's almost like Tarantino is saying, I just think this might be my masterpiece.
Almost.
I think it should, to make it even better as an ending. Instead of Thingy saying it, we should just cut to Quentin going, I think this might be my masterpiece.
Yeah. Brad Pitt should have said, I think this may just be my best film. And then Utovich goes, what? There is something about, I think this may just be my masterpiece. Half a second cut to written and directed by Quentin Tarantino. But I watched it on my own this morning and I chuckled out loud. I went, ha! Because it is like, not a fuck you, but like a, yeah, come on. I know that I've just made an incredible film that you're going to rewatch and talk about for years. And I don't care if the Hurt Locker wins. It's a masterpiece. And there is something, we talk a lot about the thwarted hubris of certain directors who are like, this is going to be the best film in the world, and then it's shit. But there is something about a director of a certain quality who knows that they've made a masterpiece, isn't arrogant about it, and can be like, yeah, this is great. Indeed. It's time for a few fun facts, ladies and gentlemen. Quentin Tarantino was considering abandoning the film while the casting search for someone to play Landa took place, fearing he'd written a role that was unplayable, until Christoph Waltz auditioned, and they both agreed they found a perfect actor for film.
Tom's like that usually, and he just ends up ringing me up saying, "Will you do it?"
Well, I've written a role that's unplayable, and when I mean that, I mean I can't be behind the camera and in front of it at the same time.
Me.
I've written the screen. I've written the script in such a way that I can be in it and star in it. One of the Jewish names carved on the Bear Jew's bat is Anne Frank.
Yes, I read this earlier. Sorry.
Did they know who did anybody know who Anne Frank was in 1941?
I mean, no.
I know who she is.
just clearly like a thrown in there thing.
Yeah.
To be like, this is a big fuck you to those Nazis.
Yeah. When asked about the misspelled title, writer and director Quentin Tarantino gave the following answer. Here's the thing. I'm never going to explain that. You do an artistic flourish like that, and to explain it would just to take the piss out of it and invalidate the whole stroke in the first place. That's what he said.
He's got Muppet hands.
He does. As of 2010, this is Quentin Tarantino's film with the most Academy Award nominations, 8. You know who's a big fan of Christoph Waltz's performance in this film?
John Carruthers.
What? I don't think my dad's ever seen this. This feels like the sort of film that he's watched an hour of, like, late at night when the cricket's done, and he's like, I've got half a beer left, I'll watch this. And then he says to me later that he's seen the whole film. Michael Caine.
Oh, I do like Michael Caine.
The best performance of a villain I've seen in years. Caine even correctly predicted that Waltz would win Best Actor in a Supporting Role.
Must have been.
A ruby the size of a tangerine.
A tangerine the size of a tangerine.
What did you do to that? How did you catch the bandit? Burn the force down. Great stuff. In the original draft of the script, Wilhelm survives being shot by British von Hammersmark, and it is his information provided to Colonel Hans Lander that blows her cover. The shooting script includes a scene where Rain and his men intimidate the vet into treating Bridget von Hammersmark's bullet wound by shooting 2 of the dogs inside their cages. The scene was apparently filmed but cut from the final print, as during the scene with Hammersmark on the table, if you look behind her, you can see 2 cages with holes in the wire mesh, bloodstains, and dead dogs within them.
Oh.
Quentin Tarantino stated that he believes Frederick Zoller really did love Shoshana, and that their final encounter was tragic. He further explained that Zoller forcing his way into the projection room and threatening Shoshana represented Zoller fatally allowing his emotions to get the best of him at the worst possible moment. Yeah, thank you, Quentin. That's obviously what's happening. Quentin Tarantino had all of his actors playing the bastards go through a day of scalping training.
I was going to mention the scalping, but...
That's Quentin's one of them, isn't he?
Yes, there is a dummy of Tarantino. I don't know why it's a dummy. I mean, I do. Who would want to lay down face in the mud?
Yeah, he was probably holding a camera at the time.
Yeah. It's like, yeah. In the original ending, Shoshana's movie for the Nazis was supposed to be in French. Melanie Laurent was the one suggested to Tarantino it should be done in English to make the finale more powerful. In the scene where Bridget von Hammersmark was choked to death, the hands were Tarantino.
Very Hitchcock.
Yeah, because Tarantino was unimpressed with the choking scenes in other movies, in that actors are rarely in any considerable danger while shooting them, and convinced Kruger to be strangled for real in order to get the scene just right, fearing that Christoph Waltz would choke her too much or too little. Tarantino decided to literally take matters into his own hands and did the scene himself. Tarantino said, what I said to her was, I'm going to just strangle you, all right? Full on. I'm going to cut off your air for just a little bit of time. We're going to see the reaction in your face, and I'm going to yell, cut. Kruger decided this was reasonable and let Tarantino sit on top of her and choke her to the point of unconsciousness. Fortunately for Kruger, the shot was accomplished in one take. Fortunately for Kruger, Tarantino didn't spend the rest of the day strangling her. Yeah.
Let's stop it. Actually, no, we didn't quite get that right. Can we go for it again?
Can we do it
5
again?
hours later. Quentin, please get off her.
Get away.
Let go. No, I just need to...
However, I disagree with him, actually, because I think this isn't the best strangling scene of all time. It's Cuckoo's Nest. The strangling of Nurse Ratchet. Wonderful
I
stuff.
think it's actually Strangers on a Train.
That was good. That was good. But not to death. I mean, neither of these are to death. Oh, no. British von Hammersmark is to death. What are we doing? Tom's big question. I actually have less than I presumed. Are Marcel and Shoshana a real couple, or is it just a deep, deep friendly love? Because that final kiss is quite romantic. I mean...
I always assumed that they were just a proper couple.
Oh, I always assumed that they were just friends.
That's a lot, really, doesn't it?
Why does...
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Operation Kino is a terrible plan. Why on earth didn't they just stop it? As soon as they knew that it was in the basement, why didn't they just call her up? Then, if Stiglitz is so famous and he has been on so many newspapers, just going to go down there? Just going to go down there with Stiglitz? Just going to go down there with Stiglitz? Come on. And then, yeah, we've talked about leaving the shoe. Becky, as this is your 7th favourite film, do you want to vouch for it?
What? In terms, just say how good it was?
No, just say, prove me wrong. But I'm not wrong, am I? Like, Hugo Stiglitz is one of the most famous people in Nazi Germany, and we literally cut to him on a front cover of a newspaper. Who knows? Yeah, that's it for Tom's big question. I'm sorry to disappoint everybody. That's that. You know,
Wow.
closing line Hall of Fame. I think we can bring it back today. Utovich, this may just be my masterpiece. Incredible, incredible line, and we've talked about it. I don't have anything else to say about Inglorious Basterds. I'm very excited to talk about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood next week. Will, do you have anything left to say about Inglorious Basterds?
That is also it from me.
Becky, your 7th favourite film of all time.
Just a great film that I think I said this before, but it was introduced to me in like my 6th form by a group of guy friends who would quote it all of the time. And I mean, like every single lunch and break time, it would be like Margarete or like my name is Lieutenant Aldo Rain. It would just like, it was constant. And I think that's why I hold it close to my heart in a certain way.
Lovely. You won't be joining us, Becky, for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood because you quote unquote. What was your hot take with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
I just don't enjoy it as much as some of his others.
But you will be with us following our gigantic quiz over 3 weeks, I believe that will last. But anyway, the next time you'll be with us is for upcoming episode The Truman Show. An incredible, incredible, incredible film. But before that, we've got Tropic Thunder, and before that, we've got wonderful stuff. We've got the first annual Quizathon, and before that, we need to finish off Tarantino. We need to talk about Rick Dalton, Cliff Booth. Baby, it's time. I've been Thomas Carruthers.
I've been Will Leggetter.
And I've been Becky.
Yeah, you have been. You don't sound sure, but you have been. And oh no, this hasn't been our masterpiece. What has been our masterpiece?
Cream.
Don't forget the cream, everybody. Everybody at home. Don't forget the cream.
Da ba da ba da ba da.